Happy Saturday and welcome in time for Last Call here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we've got a whole lot of games going across a whole lot of sports here today. We've got college football. We have also college hoops, full day of college hoops, NHL, NBA, and a pretty damn big UFC card coming up tonight. So we're going to have you covered across the board here today with three of the best over at WagerTalk.com. Kyle Anthony will be here. We'll talk some UFC. Skee Profit, Hakeem will be here. We're going to talk, of course, NBA and our good friend Jimmy Adams, who just refuses to lose. Those of you guys that have been watching the college football show during the week, he has been absolutely crushing it. 14-3 all sports run right now, 5-1 in college football, and he is first up here on Last Call. What's going on, Jimmy? You ready for week 11 of the college football season? Because I love the game that you pick, so I cannot wait to hear what you think of this Arizona taking on, prime time. It's not so much prime time anymore. It's maybe you can qualify to be the next offensive coordinator at Colorado because they can't seem to figure it out. What are we doing in this game, man?
Yeah, we have really Colorado hit a downward spiral as it's gone along, right? This is a team I can only look to fade right now. Buffaloes have now lost 3 straight, and if you recall, it began with that epic collapse against Stanford. But they could have easily lost to Arizona State the week before that. They definitely should have lost to Colorado State, the game at home that went into overtime. This team is lucky to have 4 wins and is now fighting for bowl eligibility. The question I ask myself, Joe, is can they stay motivated? I mean, at 4 wins, that's not what the team was expecting coming into the year. It has to be tough for even the best motivators like Coach Prime to keep this team believing. I mean, they're giving up 6.23 yards per play and 34 points per game. All kinds of changes in the offensive play calling, which has been a total mess. And then you have Arizona, who is 8-1 against the spread, which was the best mark in college football until UNLV covered last night. So they're right there with the best ATS teams in the nation. A very good UCLA defense and won by 17. Beat a good Oregon State team the week before that and absolutely dominated Washington State. So a team that is trending in the right direction for sure. Wildcats averaging 6.46 yards per play on offense, which is actually more efficient than this overhyped Colorado team. Depth has been a major concern. It is at this point, at least in the season, and I have absolutely no belief in their offensive line, which is atrocious. So with 2 teams heading in opposite directions, the only way I can look is the Arizona side here, a game that just missed the card, Joe.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to trust them. They certainly have some talent. I think the Colorado experiment is going to be long-term here. I just think some of these other teams that are a little bit ahead of them, certainly offensively, it's going to be a rough going. But, hey, what was their win total, Jimmy? 2 this year, I think? 2.5? Nobody expected them to win anything.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah, they're over. And let's, to put it in relative terms, it's been a successful season for Colorado. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think they had higher expectations. I think they'd love to go to a bowl, which is probably a little bit unlikely at this point. But Colorado absolutely in it for the long haul. Dion will have success, but this season, this game in particularly does not set up well for a cover, in my opinion.
Love it. All right, so we do have a question or two coming up for Jimmy. And by the way, if you are new to us here today on Wager Talk TV, go ahead, become part of the family, and smash that subscribe button, because if it's college football content, NFL content, NBA, college hoops, you name it, we've got you covered here at Wager Talk. So become part of that Wager Talk TV family. Smash that subscribe button. And for those of you joining us on the live broadcast, you guys know the routine. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up there. Drop your questions for the guys. We'll get to as many of them as we can regarding today's slate of games. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL here, Jimmy. And Interesting game, 9:30 again tomorrow morning on the East Coast. We wake up to NFL football. You got to love that. We did last week. That was an interesting game there with Miami and Kansas City. I don't know how interesting this game is going to be, though, with New England taking on the Colts in Germany. What are you thinking about this first game out of the blocks tomorrow in the NFL?
Well, it is sure not going to be interesting, Joe. But let's wake up and cash a ticket in Germany early Sunday morning as the Pats try to generate any sort of offense. Bill Belichick's been in the news a lot this week. I'm seeing him everywhere. Everything from rumors that he could be fired during the bye to some camera footage that shouldn't have been leaked, showing him, living his best life or whatever the heck he was doing there. I have no idea. But the bottom line is this team stinks. And I don't think Belichick coaches past this season. He's a great head coach. He's the GOAT. He's probably the best coach to ever coach in the NFL. But he's been a terrible GM. And you're seeing the personnel as a result. They just can't hang no matter how good he coaches them up. If we want to simplify this handicap, this game comes down to scoring. The Patriots have scored more than 20 points just one time all season. The Colts have scored 20 or more in every single game. And it was the Indy secondary that really stepped up last week with 3 picks. They might have the same success again against Mac Jones, who's definitely been mistake prone, to be honest with you and to put it lightly. And he couldn't take advantage of a weak Washington secondary last week. Look, Gardner Minshew is a dink and dunk guy. He's not going to throw the ball downfield much, and that's just fine because the Colts are going to utilize Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss just like they've done all season with success. And speaking of that secondary that had 3 interceptions, Joe, the Colts have a pass rush that can get to the quarterback as well. 4 sacks last Sunday. I realize it was against the Panthers. They're playing the Patriots this week, so it's not some big step up in class. This game will not be filled with much excitement, but there's money to be made, and that's on Indianapolis. Give me the Colts on the money line. That's a client play.
All right, bang it out. There you go. On the money line to start it off with a winner tomorrow, week 10 of the college football season. I mean, let's just put this in perspective, NFL schedule makers. You forced us to watch Carolina and the Bears on Thursday night. And the first game you're going to make us watch tomorrow morning, Jimmy, is the Colts and the Patriots. The schedule makers hate us, my friend. They absolutely hate us. All right,
well,
so we've got
been a marquee matchup if it was 15 years ago, Joe. If it was 15 years ago, this is, the one.
Yeah, except Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning ain't walking through that door for Indy, and Brady is about getting ready to play for the Raiders, I think, or something along those lines. We do have a quick question since I believe Jabaka in there is saying that you are, without a doubt, the money line parlay king here. So do you have a leg, one half a leg of a money line parlay you wouldn't mind? Would it be Indy in this spot, or would it be Arizona? Is there a money line parlay one leg that you would use here today?
For the NFL, we're talking, Joe?
Or either or I don't think Jabaka is going to care one way or the other here. So college or NFL.
So on top of the Colts, looking down, just running down the card real quick, throw in the Titans, and if you're really feeling like you want to build up that payout a little bit, maybe a little bit on the Vikings as well, but I like the Titans play a little bit more.
Oh, all right. I like it. There you go. It's a new era in Tennessee. That is for sure here, Jimmy. All right. Tell the folks what you got coming up here today. Loaded card, college, tomorrow, NFL. What do you got going on today at your page at WagerTalk?
We have been on fire. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We're on a 14-3 all sports run. We went 5-1 in college football last Saturday. We're 6-1 in college hoops year to date. I have a 5% play going down today in college football. You can grab all 4 of my releases for just $39. Just head to wt.buzz/JA. Let's keep this run going, make a ton of money, and good luck with your bets, everyone.
Man is crushing it, 14-3 all sports run. Jimmy, we appreciate the time as always. Best of luck here with your plays this weekend. And I do want to remind you guys that coming up this Wednesday, it is Customer Appreciation Day. And as you can see there in the bottom, we've got $5 best bets coming up on Wednesday. So take advantage of it if you are new to WagerTalk. That would be a great opportunity for you to hop on board and partner up with either Jimmy Adams or maybe, in fact, our next guy, because I can tell you when it comes to the UFC, nobody, and I mean nobody, cashes more tickets than this man. Kyle Anthony is in the house here. And Kyle, a couple of fights you've got highlighted for us. So instead of the main event, which I know you've got a best bet on here, talk to me about one of these undercard fights here that you have circled for us tonight.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to talk about here is Benoit Saint-Denis minus 245 up against Matt Fervola plus 190. Now, this is a fight where you're going to have two guys going to war. This could steal the show on the main card. Absolutely two beasts. They're comfortable in chaos. They're going to move forward, throw caution to the wind, and all these great things. Now, there is definitely a path for Benoit Saint-Denis here with the wrestling, with the grappling, getting that control time. You know, he definitely is a guy who's going to hunt for those submissions, and he has that absolutely has that. And people kind of forget that Fervola has good wrestling. You know, he has good scrambling ability. He does a lot of really good things. Even though we just watched Benoit run through Ishmael Bonfim, Thiago Moises, which were two fantastic victories. Now, the control time can be there, and if you look at Fervola, 36% takedown defense rate, it's definitely going to be tested here. But it's also a little bit skewed because recently Fervola fought Arman Sarukian, who is an absolutely wrestling animal. He was successful 10 on 12 takedowns. But even there, you have to take a little bit where Fervola looked good. He was able to still kind of get up, find a way to find space, and that should help him in this spot here. Now, the other part of it, if you're looking at it, is the fact that Benoit is very hittable. I mean, he is very hittable. And if there's a way for Fervola to really keep this on the feet, work in space, I mean, they're just going to swing and at will. Both of these guys, if it stays, they're both, you got the God of War on the one side, so he's willing to go in there and exchange. And he has a 44% striking defense rate. Not good. He's blocking punches with his face. And you just saw the last three fights for Fervola did the same thing. It was a swinging contest. He has 3 first-round straight knockouts. I think this is a spot where the line is a little bit too wide here. And I just think that when you're knocking out guys like Drew Dober, who does not get knocked out by anybody, and that's what Fervola did just recently, I think this line is too wide. There's recency bias on the Saint-Denis side. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. He absolutely has ability to move forward, but I think this is a spot for Fervola. The line's too wide, and this is a dog or pass spot for me. So I like Fervola plus 190.
Woo, that's a good number there. It feels like a KO. It doesn't feel like that is going to make it to a decision, correct, Kyle?
Yeah, I would probably lean that way. It's just the only, I mean, it's a juicy number already. We got plus 190, but you know, Benoit is durable, so I'm a little nervous on that. But that is possible there that KO is live. But the plus 190, I kind of like it.
Plus 380, plus 390 there for a possible KO there. So should be a good one. You got to love those kinds of fights to all leading really until the main event here, Kyle, which is really what it's going to be all about here tonight. So talk about punishing. Both of these guys certainly know how to punish their opponents. What gives in this main event here tonight?
Yeah, I have a lot to say on this fight, so I'll keep it concise here. But this is an absolutely fantastic fight when you're looking at these two guys. I mean, there's absolutely ability. Both of these guys can get the finishes. I mean, you've got, Jiri, 29 wins, 25 knockouts. You've got, obviously, Alex has not been in MMA long enough, but 8 wins, 6 by knockouts. So these guys are going to be going forward, going to be throwing, and that's going to be the exciting part of it. I will be in the building. I will be at MSG tonight, so I'm excited to see this live. But the other part of it here is there's a lot of red flags on Jiri Prochazka, and it's things that I think people are overlooking that we know of, but we're kind of overlooking. And one of them is going to be this shoulder injury. He came off a shoulder injury about a little under a year and a half ago. This is his first fight back, and he's been out of competition. He's been recovering. He had surgery. and now you've got to build and get to fight camp. While all of this time's going on, you've got Alex Pereira fighting for titles, knocked out Israel Adesanya, beat another former champion in Jan Blachowicz, beat a current champion in Sean Strickland. I mean, these are great wins. And if you really look at it, and this may be a hot take, I talked about this on Wager Talk today a little bit. I'm not that impressed with Jiri's rise. I'm really not. He came over from Ryzen, another organization. If you took the last 3 fighters that he fought over in Ryzen and took their last 4 fights of each of those fighters, they're 3-9. He was not fighting high-level competition. He was fighting very low-level competition. He came to the UFC, fought Volkan Ozdemir, got touched up by Volkan. He did get that victory, though, which is a good victory for him. But then he fought Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes, I mean, this guy is a shell of himself. He's on an 0-4 run. He ends up knocking out Dominic Reyes. And then he fights, most recently, Glover Teixeira. Now, this fight, absolutely one of the best title fights you'll see. Back and forth, a 5-round war. But that was a 43-year-old Glover Teixeira. 43. That's not really what you're supposed to do to a 43-year-old on the brink of retirement. And this is also the fact that Glover is in the corner of Alex Pereira, who went 25 minutes with him, who can give him some insight. I think that stylistically, this is a bad matchup for Jiri. He leaves his hands down. He moves forward. He kind of bobs and weaves, very lackluster defense. And if you're doing that against probably the best kickboxer on the planet, I just don't think that pans out well for you. I think this is a bad spot for him. I think that he's overmatched here. And I think coming off that injury, I really like Alex Pereira. I think he goes out there and he gets that knockout. Right now, it's around plus 125 or so. I think that's a good spot.
Very hard to bet on a man with a man bun. Let me throw that out there right there. It's very difficult for me to go into my pocket and be like, the dude with the man bun is going to win this. But let me ask you this, because we do have a question coming up as well. But most likely ends inside the distance, this fight?
I would go that way. I mean, it's probably a knockout either way. I mean, if anybody's clipping somebody, I don't think there's a submission. I don't think Jiri's going to be looking for takedowns. I think they're just going to stand, and it's going to be like a glorified kickboxing match. You got to favor Alex.
All right, and we do have, of course, a question here. Let's see what we've got. I believe it's going to be the fight prior to that. Aspinall Pavlovich feels kind of the same thing. Somebody is getting their ass knocked out, or this thing is ending inside the distance here. It feels like that's kind of what we've got. Another pretty evenly priced match here. So do you have any thoughts on which way to look at this one?
Yeah, so this one here, I kind of looked at it as the same as the main event. Hey, you got, again, I mean, I feel like they're overlooking what Aspinall's gone through. You know, Aspinall has the ability. He moves like a welterweight. He's light on his feet. He's sharp, all these things. But he's coming off a knee injury. He has not fought since then. Oh, he fought one time since then, but he's coming off a knee injury. He contemplated retirement. This is on a 2-week notice, and there's rumors and rumbles that he was planning a vacation. He was on his way for a vacation. UFC writes him a big check. He says, okay, let's fight for the heavyweight title. Let's do it. While on the other side, Pavlovich, he was the backup for John Jones and Stipe, so he had this date. He knew this date. And also, he's training at American Top Team. I think it's well-rounded in his skill set. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage also on Aspinall. I think this is a knockout here. I think Pavlovich goes out there and puts a stamp on it and scares the hell out of every other heavyweight and knocks out Aspinall tonight.
Bigger dude, too, I believe, right? Bigger reach advantage. It's going to be an interesting one across the board here for the card. But, Kyle, before we get you out of here, it's a loaded card here tonight. Tell folks what you got up and available over on your page at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, so right now, last 30 days, #1 at WagerTalk in profit, feeling good, really seeing the board here. This night we got a lot of bets going on here. We've got a 5% max play, and the rest of my plays, out of the 6 plays, 5 of them are at plus money right now. So a lot of good spots, a lot of good value. I think we're going to have a very, very big night.
Oh, listen, that's what it's all about. Cashing them tickets, and nobody does it better than Kyle Anthony over at WagerTalk.com with the UFC, and we appreciate his time. Good luck, Kyle. We appreciate it, my man. We still have the one and only Mr. Skee Profit, we're going to bring on here, talk a little NBA, but do want to remind you guys, if you're new here and joining us for the first time at WagerTalk TV and Last Call, we do the show every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Try to get some last thoughts and last best bets in before all the action. It's a loaded card here today, of course, whether it be college football still, college basketball now underway, NHL, and let us not forget the one and only the association. The NBA is in full effect. So hit that subscribe button if you are new here. And if you happen to be joining us live in the chat room, you guys know the deal. Go ahead, smash that like button, give us that thumbs up. Get any questions you have about today's actions, get them posted there in that chat, and we'll get to as many as we can as we bring in the one and only Mr. NBA Skee Profit in the house. And Skee, light card here today. Great night last night. You and I both kind of stuck a fork in your Lakers early, which proved to be profitable since they still have not covered a first half spread yet. But a nice comeback win on the road. I can't believe it. The Lakers won a game, Skee, on the road. What change your opinion about them at all?
I'm gonna be honest, Joe. Hearing you say this and just thinking about it, I was thinking this last night too. I feel like for the past at least 2 or 3 years, it starts off like this, and I'm saying, the Lakers are on the hell no list. I want absolutely nothing to do with them. Then as soon as I put them on the list, they start to win a game or two. So we'll see if they can, if they can extend it, if it can become a thing, or if it was just a one-off. But I like some of what I saw. It looks like LeBron is, instilling some confidence in guys like Cam Reddish, hearing him talk about it in the post-game interview. And he missed that big shot versus your team, Joe, Miami, and people were killing LeBron for it, killing Ham for, myself included, killing Ham for Cam Reddish being in, and he hit it this time around. So I think that they can still grow. They haven't been healthy. I think we still, can make some noise for the Lakers. But will I be betting them? Probably not. Not in the near future.
I sure as hell ain't betting them in the first half because 0-9, if it ain't broke, Skee, we ain't fixing it. All right, we got a small 4-game slate. Well, let's touch on these games here. We'll get your thoughts on each of them. I'll start with out west, the late game here with the Cavs. Also a very bad first half team here, taking on the Golden State Warriors here. They're coming off a loss, this Cavs team. I believe OKC just the other night here, and now they get to take on the Golden State Warriors. Not a crazy line here. 4, I think, is what it is. But what are we doing with the Cavs and the Warriors in this game tonight?
Yeah, this game, honestly, I was going a couple different ways, going back and forth with it. It feels a little bit tricky. But this Cavs team, they've been much better at home than on the road, just in general over the past couple of years. And to start this year, they haven't looked really good at all. 2 of their starters were out for a good amount of time. Now they're back in. Maybe it takes a little bit of time for them to get that rhythm back. But just a combination of all those things had me not looking towards Cleveland. And to hear you say that they're a bad first half team, that would make me consider Golden State in the first half here, because Golden State has shown, they've looked really good, but they have a game tomorrow. And when teams are on the front end of a back-to-back, I really don't want to be banking on them to give a full effort for 48 minutes because they got to save some of that energy for the next game. So Golden State has clearly been the better offense, the better defense, even the better rebounding team, although that can change since Jared Allen's been back now. And I think, they can continue to flex their muscles here. So the one caveat, I think they really care more about the game versus Timberwolves tomorrow. But I still think they can get it done in the first half. If I was betting this one, that would be the direction I go. And I don't think really either team cares about a whole lot of defense in this first game. So lean Warriors first half.
Yeah, they played a week ago, and Cleveland actually beat Golden State there. I think that was the first time since 2019 they've actually beaten the Golden State Warriors here. But to the point about the first half, Cleveland 2-6 against the number in the first half. So opportunity and a good look in that one. What do we do with the Celtics in an interesting spot here tonight against Toronto, Skee? I'm seeing 8 as the number here. I was a little weary about offensively. They got a little stagnant there, Boston. They seemed to figure some things out last night. But what are we thinking here against this long, lengthy, and athletic Toronto Raptors team?
Well, my first thought is, Boston is on the back-to-back now, and you never know. You could get some guys out of the lineup, and you could also see guys, go get out of the game early, especially if the Boston is up as far as the spread is concerned, like by double digits. You can see some guys heading to the bench. So my thought process here is you have a Toronto team who wants to play extremely slow. They're 28th in pace so far this season. And my personal opinion, this Boston team can play either way. You want to run, they'll run. You want to slow down, we'll play in the half court. I think they're very comfortable. So I think that this will be a slower tempo game for both teams, and they're both top 10 defensive rated teams. You talked about Toronto, and they have a whole lot of length over there to defend what Boston has. So combination of those things, both teams also top 10 defending the three. I think it's more of a defensive game. I would be looking towards the under. I see the market is disagreeing with me. It's up to 224. I think it goes the other way. I think it's under 220.
And another interesting team here, the Orlando Magic just played the Hawks the other night in what a battle that was there in Mexico City. Now they're home. They're welcoming in the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Lillard is still questionable, but Lillard still ain't playing no defense here, Skee. I almost feel like we look at the Bucks, we should just look at totals. But what do you think in this one? 3.5 is what I'm seeing.
I agree. So far with the Bucks has been, when you see them on the schedule, you either look to fade them if they're laying points, which they usually have been, just because they're still trying to figure out that chemistry. Or with a team like this, you bet the over because they're going to play up tempo. They're number 5 in pace so far this season, and bottom 10 defensive rated team. Also bottom 10 defending the three. And I've been talking about it a lot. Lillard, if he's out there, he's going to be good for that over because he'll score, sure, but he's not stopping anybody. And same can be said for Malik Beasley. There was a play, it's like stuck in my mind, where he was guarding Halliburton, and it was almost like he's, if you play games online, it's like he was lagging. He was just sitting there. Halliburton was already at the rim. So the perimeter defense for this Bucks team is just absolutely atrocious. The one thing for the Magic is they don't care to play fast. They're more of a defensive team. Only their last game versus the Hawks in Mexico City has surpassed this total of 230. Was it 232? So that makes me a little bit nervous. But at the same time, I think Milwaukee will be able to score. They won't have too much trouble with this Orlando defense. So if you tell me Orlando will be able to score on Milwaukee, Milwaukee can return serve. Milwaukee likes to play up tempo. Maybe they force Orlando to push the pace too. I think this one can get up and over the 232. And no way in hell am I laying anything with the Bucks right now. It would have to be maybe a pick'em game. It's just I can't trust this team until they start to show me some kind of consistency.
Yeah, I'm looking at the end. Fultz looks to be active. They did lose Wendell Carter Jr. for a little while, but looks like Fultz is active. Lillard's still questionable, so worth keeping an eye on there. And also, Magic have been pretty darn good early in games in the first half. Their first half ATS loss was that game against Atlanta in Mexico City, but they are certainly going to be way more competitive than people think here. It's a new era in Orlando. All right, so we've got 4 games on the board here, Skee. Talk to me about props. Is there a prop or guy that you're focusing in on one of these 4 games here tonight? Oh, he muted us. Look at that. Look at it. We were so close.
My bad,
and he just muted us. There you go. That's okay.
I haven't been too heavy on the props the past week or so. I've just been really locked in with the sides, but I'll maybe look and see what kind of stands out to me. The first thing I'll say is, Joe, you talked to me here. Jimmy Butler's out.
Yep.
They're missing a hell of a lot of guards.
Hero's
They
out.
lost Vincent. They lost Strus last year. Hero's out. Caleb Martin's out. Like, you're going up against a pretty good, couple of guards. I'm blanking out here. It's a little early for me, but you know what I'm trying to say. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. Who's stopping them tonight? That's pretty much how I
Nobody.
see it. So I would look towards their
Yep.
props in this game. And other than that, Porzingis threes have been really good. He's going to stand on the
Yeah.
perimeter and force the other center out of the paint, and he's more than capable of knocking them down. Only thing I'll say is Toronto's been good defending the three, but I don't think that's necessarily the center position. So it'll be more of just if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing with Porzingis threes. And other than that, I think that's kind of it. I don't want to tell people just
Let me
anything.
ask you, Giannis coming off a game, he dropped what, 51, 53. He is not going to keep that. Like, if you got to go to the wire with him shooting that well and you still can't win a game, it feels like maybe look to his unders in this spot. I'd be shocked if he goes back-to-back performances where we're going to get that many points from him in this game here, in this spot. I just don't see it happening. I think Orlando is athletic and lengthy enough to maybe cause him some problems. I think it's got to come from somebody else with Milwaukee.
I would agree. And he was going up against a really soft defense in that last game.
Yes.
So not the case here versus Orlando, especially if Lillard is back in. That's more the ball to be shared, more points to be spread out. I could go for a Giannis under. I think that's a pretty solid call there, Joe.
Yep, like that. All right, so we got only 4 NBA games, loaded card tomorrow in the association. What do you got up and available for folks at your page at WagerTalk.com?
I've had a really nice start to the NBA season. I'm currently 42-20, and my best bets have been exceptional going back to last season. I was actually looking them over because I got challenged, and they've been really, really good. I have 44-7. The last 51, 4% plays or higher in the association, and I have a 4% play going tonight. So if you would like to be involved, go and take advantage on my page. And I think the best way, honestly, you should just, do an all access subscription, whether it's a season, a week, a few days, so you can get these plays right when I send them out, and you don't have to worry about chasing any line moves. So that's what I have going for me. Appreciate you having me on, Joe.
Love it. Skee, crush it here today. Again, his 4% best bet ready to roll here tonight in the association. And that'll do it for us here. I want to thank Jimmy Adams, Kyle, Anthony, and Skee Profit here tonight for hanging out with us. We've got plenty to be excited about here on this Saturday. And again, if you are new to us here at Wager Talk, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, become part of the Wager Talk TV family. Nobody has more betting content than we do. And again, plenty of head-to-head matchups here in college football here today. We've got videos and content on all of them, including a ton of best bets from the guys over at WagerTalk.com. All you got to do is hit subscribe, and you'll have access to each and every one of them. For those of you who joined us live here, we appreciate it. As always, smash that like button. And again, we do this every Saturday. Last call, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Best of luck with all your plays. Click on that video on the screen right now, though, and go get all of that content with the head-to-head matchups coming up this week here. NFL, NBA, college basketball, NHL, college football. We have got you covered. We appreciate the time. Best of luck with all the plays this weekend. We'll talk to you again.